The lion is still alive. I knew because his eyes were open pale yellow, gleaming between the dust and the dried blood on his fur. His chest rose and fell slowly, heavy, like every breath was the last decision he had not yet had time to take, and I stood less than 5 feet from him. "Don't come any closer," someone shouted from behind me. His voice broke, probably because of panic, maybe knowing one more step could end my life. But I'm still moving forward and I don't know why I did it. To this day, when people ask me, I always say, "I'm afraid to." And it's true. My knees are shaking. My hands are cold. The smell of iron from his blood mixed with the smell of dry earth and animal feces made my stomach nauseous. The place was not a wild savanna as one might imagine when one heard the word lion. It's a conservation area on the outskirts of town, some kind of animal rehabilitation center. A high wire fence surrounds a large area of rough grass and several acacia trees. The lion, who I later learned was named Atlas, was found with a gunshot wound to his shoulder. Poaching. The bullet did not penetrate completely, but enough to make him disoriented and aggressive. The vet wasn't there when I arrived. I didn't go there to be a hero. I came because my mother worked as an administrative staff in a small office near the observation cage. School was off that day and I went. I was supposed to be sitting in an air-conditioned room, playing with my phone, waiting for my mom to finish. But the scream changed everything. The security guard and 2 cage guards stood on the sides of the inner fence. Atlas lay not far from the small gate used to feed. They argue. I heard snippets of sentences. Pushers, too close. If he wakes up dash, the lion raised his head just a little, but enough to make everyone take a step back. That's when I saw something that others might not see, or don't want to see. It's not just the wound on his shoulder, but the look. Not wild. Not entirely. There's something else in there. Confusion. Apprehended fear. I know it sounds naive. It was as if I was projecting my own feelings on a wild animal. Maybe it is. But back then I didn't see any monsters. I saw a creature in pain for some reason. I knew that look. I'm not a brave boy. At school, I often sit at the back of the class. I'm not the type to fight. If someone pushes me in the hallway, I'll get down and leave. My father left when I was 10, without much explanation. Only one short sentence to my mother I heard from behind the door. "I'm not strong anymore." Since then, the house has felt like a waiting room that no one has really left but also never feels whole. My mother rarely smiled. I learned not to bother. Maybe that's why I recognized something in the lion's eyes, a cornered feeling that had nowhere to run. "Whose child is it? Pull him up." Someone's voice made me realize that I had gone too far. I stood in front of a small half-open door. My distance from Atlas is now only about 3 meters. He snorted softly. The sound is low, heavy, like a rumble long before the storm comes. If he gets up, I don't stand a chance. "Let me," I said. My own voice sounded foreign. One of the guards looked at me in disbelief. "Are you crazy? Back off." Maybe it is. Perhaps this is a form of stupidity wrapped in empathy. But there's a part of me that feels, if I step back now, I'll carry that regret for a lifetime. I took another step. Atlas moved his legs. His muscles are still strong even though he is injured. I could see the blood that had dried up around his shoulders, forming a dark crust between his golden feathers. Flies circled over it. I quit. Not too close. Enough to make him realize I was there, but not close enough to force him to feel threatened. "It's okay," I whispered. I know that sounds ridiculous. Lions do not understand human language. But the tone of voice, the rhythm of breathing, the animal understands that. I've read about him. In the school library, books on animal behavior were often my escape. I lowered my body slowly, kneeling on the ground. My hands are open, palms up. Surrender gesture. Atlas looked at me. Those moments feel long. I can hear my own heartbeat in my ears. If it crashes, I won't even have time to scream. But he wasn't crashing. He winked. Small movements, almost imperceptible. Then his head dropped again. touching the ground, that I heard a collective sigh of relief from behind me. "Now we can shoot the dope," someone whispered. "No," I said quickly, without turning my head. "Wait. I don't know where that courage comes from. Maybe not courage, maybe despair. I'm afraid if they shoot him now in a depressed state, he will rise in panic and attack before the drugs work." I crawled a little closer. Every centimeter feels like a violation of the laws of nature. His body odor was getting stronger. A mixture of soil, blood, and something wild. I could see old scars on his sides, fight marks maybe. His life was not a gentle life. My hands trembled as I slowly lifted them up. "I'll come closer," I said slowly, more to myself. Atlas made a low voice, warning. I quit. We looked at each other again. I'm trying to catch my breath. Pull. Blow. Don't be in a hurry. Don't force him to choose between attacking or fleeing. "I won't hurt you," I whispered. That sentence, oddly enough, felt like something I wanted to say to myself years ago. I shift the body slightly to the side, not directly from the front. In many predatory species, looking straight can be considered a challenge. I lowered my head slightly, avoiding full eye contact. Then, with the slowest movement I've ever done, I hit the ground near his feet. Not his body. Just the ground. Atlas is not moving. My hands are getting closer to the fur. A distance of a few centimeters feels like an abyss. And finally I touched it. Warm. The fur near his feet was rough, thicker than I imagined. The muscles underneath are tense. In a split second, I'm sure he'll turn around and bite my hand off. But he just sighed. Long. Heavy. I felt something collapse inside me at that moment. The tension I had been harboring, about my father, about abandonment, about being a child who always retreated, seemed to break with his breath. I slid my hand slowly over his shoulder, stopping before the wound. He grimaced. Small but clear movements. "It hurts." "It's okay," I said again, almost crying. From behind, I heard the sound of a cocked stun gun. "Now!" cried the guard. The anesthetic needle is bolted and stuck in the side of Atlas's body. This time he really reacted. His body stiffened. Head held high. It roared, not loudly, but enough to make the ground beneath me tremble. I was transfixed. If he attacks now, it will be too late. But the effect of the drug worked faster than I feared. The movement slows down. His roar turned into a weak growl. His eyes remained open, looking at me. I'm not backing down. I don't know why. A sane instinct should have told me to run. But I stayed there, my hand still touching the fur. "Sleep?" I whispered. A few seconds later, the huge body collapsed completely quiet. Then chaos. People ran in carrying stretchers, medical equipment, speaking quickly in technical terms. I was pulled away by someone, maybe my mother. I don't really remember. All I remember is Atlas' last look before he fell asleep. Not an angry look. Not a wild look. Tired look. Atlas is safe. The operation to remove the bullet went well. It took weeks until he could stand without limping. I came back several times, but never as close as that day. Rules tightened. The fences repaired. Protocol changed. People call me brave. I never felt that way. What they don't know is that crazy is not about courage. It's about confession. About seeing wounded beings and recognizing wounds in oneself. If Atlas had hit me that day, it might have been a different story. Maybe my name was just a footnote in the accident report. But what happens is that two beings, one human, one lion, stand on the boundary between fear and trust. And for once in my life, I'm not backing down. I did not cure the lion. The doctor did it. It's the medicine that works. The system saved him. I just did one crazy thing. Get closer when everyone else was moving away. And sometimes in a world of fear, that might be all it takes.